You are listening to the Built to Grow podcast.
All right, welcome back to the Built to Grow podcast. I'm your host, Tim Lyons, in studio, Scottsdale, Arizona, joined as always by our host and co-host, Randy Angston. What's up, fella?
How you doing, buddy?
Great. I'm excited about this show. We have two special guests here, and we apologize because we only have one microphone, but a couple of special guests here they're gonna help explain all the chaos that's going on with the shutdowns as well as your rights as gym owners out there, and they're here to help and they're here to break it all down for us. So I want to welcome Josh Barnett from Metroflex here in Arizona, as well as David Jose. How are you guys doing today?
Great. Thanks for having us.
You're gonna have to pick that microphone.
Yeah.
Thank
you for having us.
Yeah, yeah. You're gonna have to split.
Hello.
Yeah.
You can lean into it, maybe.
There you go. Yeah, we're live.
Yeah.
We're live. Guys. We're live. All right. Well, the reason I'm so excited to have you both on the show today because first and foremost, there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of gym owners are confused, and mostly they're scared, right? Our audience is small, one-off, independent gym owners. They might have, 2 to 10 locations, but mostly one-off gyms, and they're being shut down by the thousands in every state, and most of them comply. There's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of people scared about what could happen to them. Do I lose my business? Do I go to jail? I'm seeing these guys on, New Jersey getting, ramrodded into hundreds of thousands of dollars of fines. But you both have come forward and helped a lot of gym owners switch into what is called a PMA, and would love to hear a lot about that. So, guys, welcome to the show. Let's talk about it.
Thank you for having us.
Yep. So first, let's go through this a little bit. How many gyms have you helped right now switched into this private member organization?
Over 50.
Over 50, okay.
And that includes California, New Mexico, of course, Arizona, New Jersey, New York.
Yes.
Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting. So,
New York,
throughout the country.
Mexico.
Okay, so it doesn't matter what state
Florida.
you're helping. You're helping gyms protect themselves more or less from this tyrannical rule of these governors shutting them down. And so let's get right into it for a second here. What is a PMA and why is that important?
So a PMA is important because there's a different status that each man or woman can have. So you could act as a government employee, you could act as a police officer, which would be considered a person, or you can come in your status as one of the people. So if you want to get into that, we can look at the law and we can actually see the differences between status and how the court must respond when you're in a certain status. And so what's been happening is that the judges and attorneys, they have been allowing people to get pulled into a status that doesn't belong to them.
Okay.
And then suing the status, suing the entity rather than the man or woman. And so what ends up happening is you think that a law binds you when it has nothing to do with you. And if you came to court in the right status, you would win. But nobody's going to tell you.
Interesting. Okay. And so by status, you're saying either a person is which they defined. And by the way, guys, we read all this. he made us read all this. Hey, he was trying to punk me out. Are you a person? And so there's I guess, what was that statute we were looking at in your pocket?
It was ARS 26-317. It's the whole law for the whole emergency chapter that gives the government power to mess with anyone.
Okay.
It's the part of the statute that gives the penalty for anybody who goes against any of the laws.
Okay. And that's what they're using as they're pushing these executive orders out all over the nation. They're saying, pursuant to this clause, we have the executive right to, under this emergency, to shut your business down.
Yes.
But there's a little second part to that little there that nobody's talking about. What does that second part say?
So you want to look it up? You
Sure.
want to grab it? So what we will do is we won't say anything on this podcast that cannot be verified with actual written law or facts. So a lot of people will tell you a lot of things, and I think a lot of the fear that comes with learning the law is media is very good at getting people on TV and saying this is sovereign citizen stuff, this is crazy, everybody's bound by the law. But before we leave today, we will show this and we will prove that not everybody is bound by every law. The Constitution of the United States and of the state is the highest law of the land, and not everybody's even bound by that.
You know
The
what?
concept-
You gotta
What's
remember,
what's the
when they
ARS
call
number
you a
again?
sovereign citizen, they're trying to discredit him because they know he's right.
26.
Okay.
And you see this across the board in government, where they'll try to discredit a certain group or a certain person or a certain drug that's out there that's helping, but they want to discredit it because they're not making any money off of it.
Right.
Hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah.
I won't get deep into that, but that's just another example. But they try to do the same thing when they'll go, oh, he's a sovereign citizen. He's just using the Constitution.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all it is.
So the thing is the government officials have what's called a trust indenture. The Constitution is a trust. So you know how like the slaves back in the day, they'll say they're indentured servants. The government is really indentured servants, like
Oh,
literally.
to the people.
Yes, literally indentured servants. And their trust indenture is the Constitution. This is of the state and the federal. This is why attorneys and judges never want you to look at the Constitution of the state. They always tell you about the United States Constitution.
Got it.
They say don't bring that in here. I'm like, cool, I won't bring the United States Constitution here, but I will bring that state Constitution you swore to, because it tells me exactly what I can do against you. So if we look at 26317, it will tell us what the actual law says. Now, for everybody who's hearing, these people tell you that, well, they tell us that we're all persons. So when you see every statute in your state, it's going to say pretty much any person who does not do this, any person who does not do that. And people think that we're persons, and we're not persons.
And one thing too, I noticed when I first learned this, that you'll pick up quick when you read through the state constitution. You'll see persons and public kind of interchangeable almost. They kind of go hand in hand, and you'll see, and he'll explain why that is versus private and another term that he can go over. So.
Okay.
All right. Well, I have it here. ARS 26-317 says any person who.
Okay, stop. Anybody who, for any man and woman out there who thinks you're a person, raise your hand behind the camera. We can't see you, right? behind the radio. Now,
We won't tell.
it says any person. So if any person means man or woman, then that means that nobody is exempt because it said any,
Any. Right.
right? So any person who what?
Any person who violates any provision of this chapter or who knowingly fails to or refuses to obey any lawful order or regulation issued as provided in this chapter shall be guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor.
So any person who does not follow what they say is guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. Now, if they believe that you are a person and you believe that you're a person, you're going to court and you're going to make a plea.
And try and defend that you didn't.
Yeah, and you might be in trouble for a misdemeanor.
You're pretty much up against the wall on that one.
Yes. So let's see what the second half says, because if there's any exemptions or if it doesn't apply to anybody or any exceptions, that means that person does not mean what we thought it meant.
And one thing too, you want to keep in mind, especially in the law or in these statutes, they always have the exemptions or the exceptions hidden at the very end. So make sure you read
Okay.
All the way through.
And before you read the second half, this statute is across all states, or this is just the Arizona one?
This statute is Arizona telling the truth. Some of the other states try to hide the truth, but then other places is going to blow their back out with the Constitution or their statute too.
So every state has something
Some
like this.
form of.
If you know how to use either your Constitution and the Bill of Rights, or you know how to use your statute, which the Bill of Rights is the best and the highest, it's guaranteed rights in the Bill of Rights, and I'll prove that in a second too.
Cool. The second half is this provision does not apply to the refusal of any private organization or member thereof to participate in a local emergency or state of emergency as defined by this chapter.
Okay, so if you're in a private membership, or if you are a private organization or a member of one, it does not apply to you. Now, no attorney in Arizona ever told people that it did not apply to you if you were in a private organization.
Okay, so now we need to define private organization.
So you have public entities which were created by the power of statute. So in the law, one of the maxims of law is you control what you create.
Okay.
You control what you create. So men and women create babies. We can control our little ones. Government officials, government is a entity created from a document called the Constitution. It's paper. It's corporate. So then it can create paper and corporate. Can't create people though.
Sure.
So when you look at governments, they can't create kids, but they'll create a birth certificate for a kid to wipe out debt. If you look at governments, they can't create kids, but they'll create social security cards, right? If you look at the government, they can't create people, but they'll create corporations and say it has the power to sue and be sued.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
acts as a individual.
Yeah, they create LLCs, and that's what most of us, a lot of business owners form these LLCs. The first thing we do, hire an attorney, get your LLC, or do it on your own.
Right.
And that's what we're taught, But when you learn that you're under the control of the state at that point, then.
Well, let's be honest. No, I don't think it's known that there's another way.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
this
right.
is the way you do it,
You're taught
right?
a certain way. You're right. I was too, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They won't tell, but you got to look at the fact the bar attorneys are a private association.
Makes you wonder, right?
Boy Scouts of America, private association.
Okay.
Clinton Foundation, filthy rich, right?
Clintons are corrupt, but she's smart.
Yeah.
She's smart. I'll give her that.
Hillary, I'm not talking bad about you on this show,
You're not getting murdered.
right? And Chris Hallett, one of the fighters who fought with me, they just said he got murdered last night. He was just giving information to the federal government to go after the election. Well, I think he dealt with the election fraud.
that was on Facebook?
He dealt with the impeachment. Yeah, the guy who I talk about all the time. They just said he got murdered last night.
Wow.
And we were just getting ready to do some stuff together to stop the fraud. But
Wasn't a suicide.
well, I don't know. I'll find out because somebody just mentioned it on my platform. So, much love to Chris, and we pray that God blesses his family. But see, this is why we have to stand up, guys. I got a lot of death threats for telling this stuff. They tell me all the time, we gonna come kill you. I'm like, I'm too tough. I don't give a shit. I'm from Detroit. Like, I got the death threat since I was little. It's nothing to me. I've lived to 40 longer than Jesus, so and he's giving me a lot, so it don't matter. So y'all gonna know the truth, and we gonna win. That's what's gonna happen. All right. But what ended up happening is that government officials have hid the truth. So the Clinton Foundation, you think about Trump, right?
NAACP.
NAACP is one. They beat the government all the time. But you look at Trump. The IRS has been giving away people's tax information and going after people for taxes who were in the Tea Party for some years under Obama, right? So how come they can't tell y'all how much money Trump made? Because they can't find it.
Because he can't find it.
Okay.
Judge, you got to give it to us. Okay. Oh, good luck, right?
So is he a private?
He got a lot of private stuff.
Okay.
Trump is smart. Now, the thing is that a public entity, so anytime you ask the government for permission to create your entity, is created by statute, which means the government has what's called a compelling interest. So when the government's coming after you, they're going to say, do we have a compelling public interest in this business? Well, we opened it up, we started, we gave you permission, and you're doing commerce. Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution, the people gave the government the power to regulate commerce. So because they can regulate commerce, if you are selling something, then they can say this is commerce. But if you got a membership association and you just have a membership fee for your church members, then there is no selling.
Okay.
And if you gift products inside of your membership, for y'all who have products, if you say I got $100 a month package and it comes with love, we can hug each other and don't have to wear a mask, and we have the same belief system, and we also we also give you supplements for free inside of this package, then guess what? There's no commerce. Yeah, there's no commerce.
Got it.
Therefore, there's no regulation.
Does that also mean therefore there's no taxes?
Well, you can't tax anything but commerce. If there's no commerce, there's no tax.
I did the same thing.
It's got to roll. It would roll up, right? So, like, I mean, I think of it kind of like is it a VFW?
Oh yeah,
right. Like the private Moose Lodge, Moose like that, right?
Masons,
The private, they make
Masons.
Freemasons. I mean, these
They
are all
serve
private
alcohol in
organizations. No, they
no
and they don't
liquor
have to follow
license?
liquor license. They don't have to follow
No.
liquor laws as far as when
motorcycle
they can serve.
clubs?
All of this, yeah.
We've been trying to get the message out to these restaurant bar owners that they can do business a little differently, and it's different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the people, if you're in a location that you have a strong support, of your regulars, that would be the easiest type to switch over. You know what I mean? They're going to come all day. They're going to come to support you just because of what they're trying to do to you. You have people from outside coming in, but you can do this. You can go, you know what? You don't pay for alcohol here. It's $50 to come here, And all the alcohol you can drink, you figure out the margins.
Yeah, the math.
But you don't need, what they were concerned with is a liquor license. We're still kind of fighting these people with that because they don't understand that you don't need one. And they're so brainwashed into thinking they need one,
right.
like the LLCs, like I thought, or you thought, or that we need. That's the direction we have to go. That's just another way of doing business. They're still kind of, I'm not sure. Well, you can go ahead and keep losing millions of dollars if you want. The one guy lost $3.4 million that we were talking with, and I still haven't heard from him. And they're going to get shut down again. And I guarantee he's going to be calling me. And I may or may not answer it at that point.
Yeah.
Because now I'm getting frustrated because we tried to help you the first time. But he's a great dude. And we'll definitely take his call and help him out and get him going the right direction. But it's just a different way of doing business, and it's hard for people to wrap their minds around that when you've been doing it for so long, for decades, the way you've been taught, So
that is hard to understand because we don't know any different, right?
Yeah.
So you have so many questions, right? I have okay, so if we decide this is the right thing to do because we're protected and we don't fall into that statute and we're exempt. And then what happens when taxes times comes and where do we show on our tax returns and all this other stuff that goes with it? And I'm sure that's a story for another day.
I'll just say it real fast. It's real simple.
Okay.
When you're selling something, that's corporate, right? But you can sell something from at home. You could sell something from anywhere. People can buy it off of online, right?
Right.
So if they want to buy supplements, tell them, hey, go put your credit card information in, buy offline. I'm not open. I'm not physically open for people to come. But the thing about a membership association is you have the right to meet together you have the ability to meet together by right, constitutionally protected right declared by your forefathers before you were even born. And every government worker who decided to work here said that they promise and swear under oath that they would not infringe on it.
Yep,
what if you saw that? What if you saw that I have the 100% guarantee right in the law? Would that make a difference?
For me, for sure. I mean, ultimately, it matters. If they did come calling, and ultimately where that.
Well, let's talk about some real case scenarios where you have helped gym owners that now the police have left them alone and all this stuff. Give some good examples of that.
Well, we got a guy in California with a deep voice, sound like Vin Diesel, who the government was picking with him, and he came with self-made, and. I told him, I said, hey, you can move into the private. The government doesn't have the same jurisdiction over the private. Now, the problem is the government has not been taught the law in a while because the attorney hides it because the attorney like controversy in cases. So the attorney don't make money unless a lot of trouble happens.
Naturally.
Right?
Well, it's like doctors.
Yeah.
They don't
so
want you
you need problems for these people. So the first thing they're going to do is they're not going to tell you the law and let you get into cases so that they can litigate. They're not even going to tell the feds that you're committing kidnapping or treason. They're not gonna tell. They're just gonna let cases happen. Hey, go sue him. Yeah, you go sue him. Y'all drag it out. One of us gonna win. How much money you got in the bank? How much money your guy got in the bank? Let's keep this going, right?
Okay.
So what happens is that when we see in the law, when we see what our real rights are, then we start understanding that, oops, I'm not supposed to be using an attorney to step up for me because I can stand for my own rights. So then once we see it, we're good. So the gentleman who sounds like Vin Diesel, his name is John, he has a gym. They started sending that task force after him, whatever. And so
the Gavin Newsom task force.
No.
COVID task force.
He's part of my PMA, right? So I have the ability to talk with him about law, do stuff together. We can write affidavits together, just sit down, have fun, and write affidavits on a warm Wednesday, right? And so he calls me on the phone when people are right there. He's like, Dave, this dude is talking junk. I said, what's his name? Right? And we'll make an affidavit right there. I say, check your email. And we'll go get it notarized and drop it in their lap. You owe us $30,000 a day for every day you do some dumb junk. And here's the law that says you can't do it. You got 3 days to respond and show us in the Constitution where you got the right to do this.
Okay. If
not, you're in trouble. Right? So then they're looking and they're like, what the freak is this? So then the attorneys start getting smart. They start saying, so none of our judges are going to help you with this. They're not going to listen to you. Good. That's why we're not going to any of your judges. Right?
Okay.
Then they find out, oh, shucks.
Jurisdiction comes in. He was talking about jurisdiction.
Yeah.
You're pulling it out of their jurisdiction that they think they're in, this administrative fake court.
Got it.
And you're pulling it into an arbitration.
Constitutional arbitration, a common law arbitration. And there's a 1925 law. Anybody can check this out. Federal Arbitration Act made in 1925. And you'll see where in that law, it actually says that these things are valid and enforceable on its face. And that if you look in the congressional research reports, you're going to see that it's more preferred than the federal court judgments. Now, a lot of people think federal courts are constitutional.
Okay.
They think they're constitutional courts. They were not created in the Constitution. If you look in the Constitution, it says the Supreme Court, there should be, the power should be in one Supreme Court and other tribunals that the legislature shall make from time to time, right? They made arbitration.
Okay.
And they said that the arbitration is preferred over a federal court judgment.
Interesting.
So we can pull it out of the jurisdiction if we have a commerce clause in our contracts and we have our arbitration clause. Once we have that, the state automatically loses jurisdiction and you can preempt their law.
And not only that, it's funny because when you read through the affidavit, it's the we're even picking the arbitrators that we're going to. We're not even leaving it up to them. Like we're
Nice.
picking who
Yeah.
the arbitration is going to,
Right.
which probably really sets them off on top of when they realize what actually happened, because nobody comes at them like this very often,
That
if
makes
ever.
sense.
And they're probably kind of like, what is this, you know?
They always
Yeah.
who's the attorney who told them all this? What attorney is ratting on us, right? They keep doing that. They're like, oh, some attorney gave you this. Like Tommy, the DA is like, so why is it that you're still open? And he's like, because I have a right to be. The Constitution says I can. The law says I can. And he's like, then Tommy turns it on the DA. He's like, so why has it been that I've given notice to these people, showing that they have no good faith, that they did these things without knowing the law, asking them constitutional questions that show that I have the right to do this, and they don't respond. And then the DA is like, that's a very good question, Tommy. I didn't know they did that. I need to go ask these people.
Yeah, right.
Then the DA asked for more time. He's like, I need about a month and a half to figure this out. Judge, let's get back with him later. Now, everybody else who did not study with me from the first day, except for the one of the people who won, everybody else did not study with me day to day. So you got your people who did the PMA and then didn't want to go on to further study. Well, Tommy called me. He's like, David, explain this to me. Explain that to me. Explain this. I mean, he literally day after day for about two weeks to a month straight, he's asking questions, right? So now he learns this where he knows it in and out. So the darn district attorney came back on the phone with the judge after he had a private meeting on the outside line with Tommy. Then he comes back in and the district attorney's like, Judge, we got some stuff we got to look at. I need some more time. But I'm going to tell you, this man really, really, really knows his rights.
Nice.
And that's the change, the education. See, it's very fearful when you don't know what's going on.
Well, that's the takeaway, right? Like, this is all news to me.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I heard something about it early, I didn't get deep in the weeds with it. But I can guarantee the people listening right now, they don't know. But the takeaway here is that this does exist. You have the right to switch into what would be an LLC or a corporation into a PMA. Is that accurate to say that?
Think about it this way.
Explain real quick, because I had the same question. So I still have an LLC.
Okay.
That I use for my lease, right? With the landlord, right? But I can utilize that LLC to operate with the PMA under the LLC. So it's kind of like leased out, I guess is how you'd put it. But you can still do that. And you can still have the LLC because your landlord probably wants one to make them feel good and warm and fuzzy.
Sure.
But
yeah.
you can still use the PMA as what you're doing a business or your association.
Okay.
The PMA allows you the right to meet in the private. So where the government says we don't want you meeting here, if you look in article,
because of the shutdown, right?
Yeah,
Because
well,
you've
sure.
been
because of any reason you can come up with in your mind.
okay.
Right?
Any reason.
Just take a pick. Government says, I don't like, they did it to NAACP. We don't like that you're black and you're working in Alabama or Arkansas, right? That's a
Okay.
sin, right there.
So any reason.
If you got a reason where you don't want me to meet in a state, but you are the people who were hired by the people of the state to handle our business, you better make sure whatever you're mad about ain't in the Constitution. And the bad part is, what we're talking about is in the Constitution.
And the one thing that this main thing is that, as you read, all power is inherent in the people, right? And all power, not a little bit, but all of it. So when the people start to figure this out, like I did, like he taught, and I figured it out, and when I keep telling people, like I run it for U.S. Congress, and I was like, hey, I work for you. I work for you. It's not the other way around. Problem is, everybody thinks it's the other way around, or
Right.
they think it's the other way around. So there's a lot of congressmen and senators that do know this. A lot of them are very smart people. A lot of them are lawyers, but they know, but they ain't gonna tell. So I've been on a mission to let people know that like a congressman works for you, and it's not the other way around. And I can prove it. And I can show you.
Right.
And with me not being in office right now, I, as one of the people, probably have more power than some of them, to be honest with you, because they're bound by their oath right now.
Sure.
And I'm not necessarily bound by that, as a people in the Constitution of Arizona. Yeah. So we have all the power here. So there is advantages to this, but just reminding these people, and that's what we're doing today. After we're done here, I'll let him explain. But we're gonna put them on notice again on why we want everything audited in this state, every vote audited here that was cast.
Yeah.
All these Dominion machines, we want them all audited, a forensic audit on every single one of them, and we're going to force them to do it. And he can explain why. But this is just another part of the process is the people, just like moving into the private, that we're going to make them do what we want because they work for us.
Great. I love it.
We're going to force them in a nice Christian way.
And by the way,
you want me to look it up?
Can you show them that law real quick?
Just to clue everybody in, Josh actually was in the election here for U.S. Congress here in the state of Arizona. Still going on, right? We don't know the results yet, but that's why he's so involved.
What would you like me to look up?
So go to Article 2 of the Constitution. So remember, a private membership association is in the private, okay? So it's in the private domain. It's not public. It's not doing commerce. It's not open to everybody. It has private members that belong to it by contract.
Okay,
right?
So that's going to be a question that a lot of people have.
Oh, yeah.
If I switch to this, can I not market?
No. If you have a private entity, you can market and tell everything about what you're doing in the private. Like, for instance, some people who heal people from cancer, they say, in my private association, we heal people from cancer, and you can join.
And so they can skirt FDA regulations and supplement sales or
regulation is for commerce.
Exactly.
Or gambling.
For commerce.
This applies to a lot of things.
Oh.
Yeah, Tim's ears perked up. He goes,
Wait.
we're putting blackjack tables in? What?
Texas actually has gambling houses.
Yeah.
Texas has gambling houses that as long as the house does not take a cut of the money, then they can do it. But the PMA does get paid membership fees though.
Okay.
So there's a membership fee to be able to play. Now
that's the buy-in.
Yeah, the pot goes to the people. No, the membership people lets you come into the establishment or take part.
Go through the door.
The money that's gambled goes to one of the people who gambled, but it can't go to the house. But the house got paid membership fees.
Got it.
Right?
Got
Not sold membership fees. They didn't sell them,
Sure.
but the members came to join, like the church.
And so let's get into these membership. I guess to be a part of this private membership, you have to sign there's probably different documents.
Quick one page.
A gym is the easiest because it's membership based.
Yeah,
It
already.
is so
Already.
easy to switch into
They
it.
just
So-
tricked y'all into doing public membership.
Well, this is
But
Rather than private.
again, I mean, this is awesome because it is. There's nobody. I mean, every single person that starts in a business knows S corp, sole proprietorship.
That's all they teach you.
LLC. Like
It's
these are your options here.
In the top business schools in the country, like I went to Purdue initially right out of high
Mike.
school. So when I went to Purdue, the business schools are top 10
the
in the country.
Boilermakers?
Yeah, I'm a Boilermaker. Yeah.
All right.
But I had a lot of friends that business degrees and everything else, and I called him. I said my buddy Ralph Calderon and down in Miami. I'm like, Ralph, you got a business degree from Purdue. I'm going to challenge you, and he had no clue what I was talking about. And this is a smart dude. Now this guy, his family owns a construction company. They build condos in South Beach.
Okay.
He's a sharp guy. Had no idea what I was talking about. I have other friends that I've talked to have, quote, business degrees, and I go, how do I know more than you? And I don't have a business degree. And I was teasing them,
Right.
But they were loving it because they're like, oh, I'm going to look into this and see what I can do with my company here or a side company I'm doing, or he owned a CrossFit gym down in Miami. I'm switching it over. I'm going to get it switched over, So, but it's stuff they don't teach, and you often wonder why. You got to remember.
Who's teaching it?
Well, yeah, you got to remember our school system, right? Is infiltrated. We all know this. It's infiltrated. You can say whatever. What I believe is that it's been infiltrated, and with this liberal agenda to control the people of this country, and that is all part of that control. Don't teach that part. Let's teach them this, so they think they have to do it a certain way.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, like, why would you lay out everybody's full options if they only want to play with half the deck? You know what I mean?
True.
Exactly.
They get paid off of our ignorance. Can I show you guys what Article 2, Section 8 says? So private membership in the private, right? Watch this.
Section 8?
Yeah, Article 2, Section 8.
Okay.
Now watch this.
We're
The right
looking
to
up,
privacy?
We're looking up Article 2, Section 8 of what?
Arizona Constitution.
Thank you.
Because we said it earlier, we just never looked, and I
Yeah.
know that people are going to be in their mind thinking, wait, what were they
Okay.
talking about? Because
Here
you
we go.
asked a specific question.
Okay.
So watch. Notice there's going to be a comma in between. So when it's a comma, I want you to say comma, so the people know that it's two separate ideas and that you're not running it together. It doesn't mean the same thing. So
Okay.
let's read it.
No person shall be disturbed in his private affairs.
Whoa. No person shall be disturbed in his private affairs. Now, is he only in his private affairs when he's in the house?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. So private affairs, and then what comes next?
Comma.
Comma.
Or his home invaded.
Or his home invaded. So it ain't talking about his home. So you could be in the private somewhere else.
Right.
Absolutely.
Oh, shucks. Wait, so when you're in a private, the government ain't supposed to be messed. Remember I told you public business, public buildings, public entities they can go after. Anybody in a private affair is game over.
We have to define private affair.
Private affair is something that is not governed or created by the government. So your house is your own castle. Your car is your own castle.
What happens inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an extension of your home.
If you're not out in the public offering it to everybody, if you're not doing it with everybody, and is free association, meaning that let's say if you, me and you like to go play basketball, and spit on each other, right? Something crazy,
Yeah.
right? And we do it in the private, there is no public nuisance that says we can't do it.
Okay, well then we got to draw the line right there. What about somebody doing illegal drugs in their house? Is it's in the private?
Well, here, first of all, is it illegal to do a drug in your house? We need to figure that out because people have used.
There's one more
Yeah.
sentence that kind of would help, I'm sure.
people have used drugs and then went and told the cops, "Hey, I'm high. I just got high in my house."
Okay.
Okay. What the freak? Get out my face, dude. Right? Are you driving? No. Get the freak out my face.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you
Right?
are you in the possession of drugs currently?
Yeah.
No.
You got it with you outside in this street, right? Because even if the cops go in your house and take some drugs without a warrant, you know what happens?
Without a warrant?
Without a warrant.
Yeah,
if they
you
go
get
in your
off.
house and take drugs, you
Right.
could throw the evidence out
Absolutely.
because it was in the private and they have no jurisdiction over the private. They pulled it out into the public and showed everybody. You didn't.
Interesting. Okay.
And there's states where if you have a drug and you're using it, it's only enough for self-use and you're not trying to sell it commerce, then they can't prosecute you.
Oregon just
Or
passed
in
that.
Oregon now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, actually, that's a constitutional law that they just passed in the statute, but it was already the Constitution.
The funny thing in Oregon is you've probably seen that meme going
Yeah.
around. They have the straw and the cocaine. Which one's illegal?
One
Straw's
of these things
Don't
is
you
illegal.
dare use the straw, but you snort coke. That's cool.
Okay, read it top to bottom that statute.
Oh, so no person shall be disturbed in his private affairs, comma, or his home invaded, comma, without authority of law.
Now, here's the ticker. Now, when you hear authority of law, you're going to think it means a statute. It don't mean a statute. Authority of law is the law at the time that the Constitution was created. So the very day in 1910, when the Constitution just started, and 1912, when it was finally finished, whatever the law was then is the law they're talking about. And that law had no statutes called marijuana law or something like that. Didn't exist. Now, I don't want to just get stuck on that because a lot of
Sure.
people who like drugs be like, oh, drugs, right? I am not trying to teach you use drugs. I believe marijuana heals people. I don't mean by smoking it. I mean by ingestion. That's like a biblical concept. But what I want to do is I want to skip forward. So there's another one after that, and I read so many constitutions that I might have it mixed up, so I don't even want to guess. But there's another one that talks about the people's right to assemble.
In
Yes. Just read them off to me and we'll see it. It's not that many of them.
The sections?
Yes, sir.
Is it different section?
Different sections. So it's
Ooh.
after 9, I believe. I mean, it's after 8. So just read through them. You could just
So I've got irrevocable grants of
keep
privilege,
going. Not that one.
self-incrimination,
Not
double
that one.
jeopardy, administration of justice.
Nope.
Liberty of consequence,
Nope.
equal privileges and immunities,
Nope.
habeas corpus,
Nope.
excessive bail, cruel and unusual punishment,
Nope.
corruption
Of blood. Nope.
I like how you knew the whole thing before I even got there. Eminent domain.
Nope.
Now I got to look that one up later. Imprisonment for debt,
Nope, but they do that a lot with CPS people. Y'all better check that one out.
Bribery or illegal rebating.
Nope, keep going.
Military powers subordinate to civil war.
Civil power. Keep going.
Free and equal election.
Ooh, that's one that's going to tear them up right now. That's the one we just kicked their butt with. They're going to get in trouble over this one. Keep going.
Bailable offenses.
Keep going.
Trial by jury. Number of jurors.
Oh, everything they want to take from you, they have to use a jury if you're one of the people. So if they tell you that we're taking something from you and they never gave you a jury, you can always use a jury and override what they're doing. Yeah. Okay. Keep going.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's going to tear them up. So when they get you in that traffic court and they didn't use a jury, that's what's called
like
a legislative tribunal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Congress court. It's not a court of record, which is guaranteed in Arizona.
Man, this dude right here just walks around not giving a shit about anything.
Hell no.
Right?
When you hang out with David, don't wear a mask anywhere you go because you're going to get a free meal.
He just made Starbucks bought me a meal the other day because they tried to force me to wear a mask. And I'm like, have you read Title II? And the lady was like, what? You can talk to my manager. I said, yeah, go get him.
Cool.
So then the manager came, schooled him. Then he said, you want me to get the director of the whole hotel? I said, yeah, bring him too. And so then I said, sir. He said, well, the law says. I said, sir, you see right there where you have that sign and it says is recommended by the CDC? Mm-hmm. I said, a recommendation or a guideline is not a law, but I'm going to show you Title II, which is the law of your creation, because you have a LLC or a corporation in my state, and you have to have equal accommodation. And if you fail, I can come after you for $10,000 and that lady over there who was talking junk for $10,000. But I don't like to sue people. But I will get you if you make me. I will.
Yeah, you want to push harder?
Yeah. And so they are like, well, we'll just go ahead and make you something. We're sorry. And they brought a sandwich.
I was in a meeting and he comes over and he's like, you want a bite? And I didn't know what it was until
he just walks around just like.
Well, and that's the thing. It's knowledge, and that's the difference between why he's confident and able to walk and know, hey, I'm able to operate my business without, and not only without the threat of them doing something to him, but the ability, or anybody, but the ability to turn around and then enforce that back at
like
them.
and
that's where the power, that's what's going to change. That's why this needs to be out there. And this is why people need to listen, is take that power back. Because that's what's going to matter. It's going to be the only thing that they shut up with.
We make
guaranteed.
people tell on themselves. And
well,
you got to hear
this.
this.
The way I'm looking at it is it's always been our power.
Yes, sir.
We're not taking it back.
Exactly.
We forgot. Our forefathers told us, wrote it down in a love letter called the Bill of Rights or Declaration of Rights, and then we didn't listen to our forefathers enough, and they started giving us TV and football games and
distracted
Netflix and chill. Some people porn, and then the next thing you know, we forget our rights, and then they make us slaves. But let's look at this real quick. So keep going.
You got 24 rights of accused in criminal prosecutions.
Oh yeah, and that's another thing. They're prosecuting people without giving you this. If they didn't give you any of these things, they broke the common law. Keep going. We're gonna find
bills of attainder.
Bills of attainder. Oh, that's so beautiful. I'll tell you what that is. Bill of attainder is when they create a law that prosecute a class of people or a person. So it'll say, oh, you obligor, you owe money on child support. We're going to sue the obligor and make them pay and make you think you're the obligor, but you never made a loan.
Interesting.
That's how they do with child support. With CPS, it's called a non-custodial parent. You're a non-custodial parent. What the freak is that?
What is that? Right.
A non-custodial parent is when they say don't get to have the child. They call you a non-custodial parent, sue you for custody when you have a right and a liberty interest to have your kid at all times, and they can't take it. But keep going.
They double dip too on a child support because they match it with your Social Security money as well.
Everybody else's Social Security. You gotta
bearing of arms.
Hold on. Bill of attainder. Then the other one was ex post facto
laws. Yep.
That's a law after the fact. So if we beat them and have PMAs, and then they say, well, we want to make a law to stop you from having PMA.
I was going to ask this question.
Will not happen. That's ex post facto law. You can't adjust to stop me.
That was going to be one of my questions. What happens if they just go change that law?
Well, it wouldn't even matter because I'm going to show you in the Constitution, the head law of the land, other than the United States Constitution, the highest law they swear to in Arizona, they say that they will never abridge this right. And that's what I was looking for. The last one is obligations of contract. If you have members that you have contracts with, they cannot impair or interfere with the obligation of a contract. Good stuff. Keep going.
Which is your gym members.
Yeah, your gym members are bound to you by contract. Mm-hmm. And if you have a creed where you believe the same things, like I believe that oxygen helps my lungs and pumping weights helps my blood flow, and the Bible says that the life of a thing is in its blood, and he put the breath of life in our lungs, and we don't want to cover our lungs up with masks and all this stuff, then they cannot bind you to do it based on the contract that you have between the people and your freedoms. Keep going.
Wise. Bearing arms.
Nope.
Standing army, quartering soldiers.
No, sir.
Treason.
Nope. That's a good one, though.
Hereditary.
Emoluments.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it.
Uh-huh. Chris Halley used to talk about emoluments. I was like, what is that? A tooth?
Yeah,
tooth something, a molar?
I was like, that, I have never seen that word written before.
Right?
But that's privileges of power, perpetuities of entitlement.
Uh-huh.
That's all in there. Indictment or of indictment
Upon
or information.
Uh-huh. Keep
Preliminary
going.
explanation. Damages for death or personal injury.
Uh-huh.
Constitutional provisions mandatory.
Mandatory. That's 32. Uh-huh. Keep going.
Reservation of rights.
Nope.
Industrial pursuits by state and municipal corporations.
No, we should have seen one that talked about the people have a right. It might be before in the state constitution. Let's look between 3 and 7 and see if it's there.
Okay.
Which one are we looking for now?
We're looking for the one. No, let me see.
Supreme law of the land.
No,
It's 3.
Supreme law of the land is a beast.
Due process.
Due process law is very. 5. I'm
Right of
sorry.
petition, yeah.
5.
Right of petition.
Okay, watch this, y'all. Now we gonna learn some fire right here. This is gonna blow you away when you understand this. Now, remember the comma idea, right?
Yep.
Show me where the commas are. So let's go. What does it say?
The right of petition.
The right
comma.
of petition, comma. That's one thing.
And of the people
And of the people.
peaceably to assemble.
Ooh, peaceably. What?
To assemble
What does that mean?
Right.
How do you assemble?
in groups.
So you come together. Wait. So y'all telling me, because y'all some smart guys,
Yeah.
y'all telling me that you have the right to be in the private and the right to assemble?
Yeah.
Whoa,
Yeah.
shucks. They can't mess with your affairs when you're in the private, and you got the right to assemble. And they swear that they're not going to infringe on that.
Very nice. Very nice.
To assemble.
People to peaceably
Peaceably
assemble
to assemble for the common good.
for the common good. Now, working
Common.
out is good, right? For common for everybody. The Bible says that if you work out, you get 6 score in 10 years. I'm sorry, you could live 6 score in 10 years, 3 score in 10 years, which is 60 years old, or 4 score years, which is 80, by that of strength alone. So if you keep your strength, you can gain an extra 10 years on your life. That's biblical.
Nice.
So y'all telling me, and let's just be smart. The life of a thing is in its blood. Whenever you work out, blood goes to your extremities, and the parts of your body that had neuropathy or bad issues or struggle starts to heal when the life comes to it. Yeah, very good. Body by Barnett, help me out, right? So when you start working out, right, and then you sit down for a long time, let's say if you sit on a chair and your leg goes to sleep, you stand up, what's the first thing you start doing?
Shaking your leg.
Shaking.
You shake it or you hit your foot so the blood will go there.
Right.
So when you work out, blood goes places. So y'all are essential for real, because you guys help people live longer.
Right.
When you work out, endorphins get released.
Mm-hmm.
You feel more confident. Suicide goes down.
Sure.
People stop getting beat up. Right?
And your
Okay.
immunity gets spiked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. You guys are,
Essential.
you change lives for real. Relationships break up because people get out of shape and they get real bad and they can't do stuff at times. And the wife is like, dude, you can't do stuff. Right? The pool boy is seeming more, right? So,
Have you seen the pool boys ad?
you know what I'm saying? So we want to be able to perform in different ways. And the gyms around the nation are keeping people alive and keeping people confident, helping relationships, taking people who've been in accidents, and y'all boost people's lives. You guys pay a debt to society. You know, you put hard work in, you watch people go through issues, you watch people cry, you watch people grow, you watch families come back together, you see people working out together. That's something that y'all do that don't happen in a lot of places.
Sure.
Yeah.
But let's finish that sentence.
So common good, comma, shall never be abridged.
Show what?
Never be abridged.
Sometimes?
Never.
In the case of emergency?
No.
When
Never.
Lucy tells you so?
see,
When the government tells you, the government tells you, you
so
have to.
never be a bridge. So we got a right to associate. Now this goes all the way back to the Declaration of Independence when we left the king. You'll see that people became confederate, made articles of confederation. They made declarations of independence and said, we don't want to be with y'all no more. We're going to be independent. The governments of the nation, right? The constitutions tell you that the people are free and independent. You know what that means? You're not bound by the government.
Mhm.
Now that sounds kind of crazy,
It does.
but that's the truth. But what if I could show y'all that you're not bound by the government?
Show us.
New Mexico Constitution, Bill of Rights, Section 3. This is going to get beautiful.
But this is New Mexico.
This is everywhere.
It applies to us.
Well,
too.
yeah, and
Every
we got to
republic.
that before.
Every republic.
Okay.
Every republic
It just happens to be written in that spot.
is
but
written in there, but it's so the United States government accepts every constitution and signs off on it and say we agree.
Okay.
We're gonna beat him to it.
Oh, too late.
We're not asking. We're giving a document.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
game over. You're forcing.
Did you say Article 2?
Article, I think that's over there. I think it's
Article
Article 1
3.
is
You
the
said
Bill of
3.
Rights, is Section 3.
Okay.
So you see the Bill of Rights section in New Mexico?
Yeah.
Now watch what this tells you. This is gonna make you strap your chair in.
I got
Everybody
it.
strap their chair in because you're gonna fall out your chair.
Okay.
And he's kind of big too. This dude looked like a linebacker. He came in. I said, "Who's that? Ray Lewis? Light skinned version? What the freak is this? Dude is just swole."
So I've got this New Mexico Constitution. Article 2 is the Bill of Rights.
Section 3.
Section 3.
Yes, sir. What does
the
this
right
say?
of self-government.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What?
Wait a minute.
Hold on, player. What'd you say?
The right of
The
self-government.
right, not permission, privilege from a government. The right of self-government. Now, tell me what the people of the state have.
The people of the state have the sole and
Sole.
exclusive
Only. Nobody else got it.
an
Exclusive.
exclusive right
Right to do what?
to govern them
To-
themselves as a free.
To govern themselves. The people have a right to govern. It didn't say the New Mexico state government workers who we hire have the right to govern us. It said the people have a right to govern themselves. Oh, shucks.
Let me pause you for a second. So earlier on, you were trying to explain that we don't want to be called persons or people, but yet to go into private.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is saying the people have the right, but we can't be both, right?
The people have the right to govern themselves.
But before we didn't want to be people.
Persons.
Oh, it's different.
So person is the bad one. Oh, can I show y'all where that is? Arizona Constitution? I mean, Arizona statutes. Please. I got to show you this. This is so important because this sounds crazy.
This is where that connection.
But we're
between
gonna-
people and private.
We're going to
Yeah,
read it.
I'm
I'm going to
trying to-
show you what you get if you're one of the people and what you get if you're a person.
Where's that?
So go to A.R.S.1. So
everybody listening, you're probably like all over the place confused. Like, what are these guys talking about? Before we get into this next section, what we're trying to do here for everybody, and a lot of this is news to me, right? This is coming out for the first time. Like, what are our rights? What I've determined by this conversation in the last, whatever it's been, 30 minutes, is this has always been there.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't educated enough to know about it, or
They
we
hid
haven't.
it.
We hid it, or they didn't tell us about it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do see this, and the light comes, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to move into this PMA," is what it's called. Then your rights are protected, and you get a whole bunch of new rights, and you're not gonna need to shut down when
no.
the governor of your state tells you to.
Yeah, because he swore that he would never abridge your right to assemble
There you go.
and be in a private.
And
so if you
so-
got a private assembly, he really got a big problem.
So let's take, before you read this
Sure.
again. So these LLCs and people running their gyms, they've been shut down, fined, threatened. They switch to this PMA and everything disappears. More or less.
Yeah, they start realize the government. We sent a notice directly to the government telling them what we would do. First of all, if we were doing something wrong, we would never tell the government, "Hey, we're getting ready to go do this."
Okay.
Right? We send them a notice and say, "Hey, this is what we're about to do. If you got a problem with what we do, show in the Constitution where we're wrong."
Okay.
And not one person can respond. And that's what the DA found out in New Jersey. He's like, "Hey, so why didn't you set things up where, y'all came and shut me down when I gave you the notice that told you I was opening up in the private? Why didn't you have constitutional answers saying that you had the power to do this?" And then they were like, well, you gave stuff to people? Yeah, I did. Right? And then he went to each and every individual government worker. They were in a meeting one day, and he said, "I sent you notice. You got it, right?" "Yeah." "Why didn't you answer?"
They don't know what to answer.
Yeah, because they're servants. And the Bible tells you why this works. The Bible tells you that even though a servant understands that even if you give them many words, they will not answer. So to prove somebody is in a servant position, you give them notice of what the truth is and watch them not answer. they will shut the freak up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm the boss and you come to me talking stupid, best believe I'm gonna tell you where to go. And if you get too stupid, I'm gonna tell you what you can do and what I'm gonna do to respond. Right? Nobody's gonna tell me what to do. Like people say, "Oh, Dave," like they make the death threats. "Oh, we'll do this to you. We'll do that to you." And I tell them, "You're welcome. If you that bad, come see me at Wednesday. I'll be here. Come see me and tell me so that I can respect you." But government officials work for us. So when we tell them what the law is, they shut up.
True.
Because they understand. See, they're so like prideful in many cases that they think you're so stupid that they know the law and you don't know. So when you say something that don't make sense, they'll laugh at you in front of everybody and talk junk.
And here's the thing. You always assume as the end user, like the business owner, that they know the laws and they know they're doing everything by the book.
Yeah.
And they're not really. They're just.
And that's why you ask him nicely. See, I know I'm a big dude. My voice is like Mike Tyson, but I'm a big dude. So when people see me, they get intimidated at times. Like, oh, here's a big chocolate brother. How is he nice or is he bad, right? and they're wondering what they can say around me. They like, should I even crack a joke, right? But when they realize that I'm like, hey, I just want to humbly and nicely ask you about this part of the Constitution right here. Can you tell me right here where it says that we have a right to be in the private and assemble? Does that mean like we can't assemble if you tell me to? And just ask them nicely, right? And then they're going to start looking stupid. You're going to see everybody's head go back like the Simpson dude, when he's going back in the bushes.
Oh, Homer in the bushes?
Yeah, they go sink into the bushes, right? Lean back, and they're going to look at everybody else to give an answer, and everybody's going to shut up. Now, when you go to a meeting enough times with 200-300 people, and the government officials there, and you ask them a question that tears their behind up, they're going to sink back into that seat. A couple of them who are honest going to be shaking their head like, yeah, dude, actually, you're right, kid. You know? And then what's going to happen is they're going to respect you after that because you told them the truth. And they're going to realize that all the people saw them get caught. When they reacted the wrong way that let it be known that they know they're in trouble, everybody saw it. And they start feeling guilty. And then you start having real communication and we get our government back. But it takes for us to have courage to walk up to them, knock on the door and say, hey, what's the answer to number 3? Right? And then they'll stop.
Okay.
But I want people to see that section 1, because watch this. You have to know that there's different jurisdictions. And if you don't know this, you're going to lose most of the time. But once you know this, your life is going to change, right? So I want you to look at the definitions in section 1. That's going to be 215.
Yeah, I have 215. So
215 definition section. Now watch this.
Okay.
Please look up the definition of the word person,
Persons?
sir. Person, singular. Watch this.
Yes, person.
This is going to blow you away. Wait, now I asked you guys, were you all persons, right?
Yes.
Now watch what the government tells us person means. And they put it in the first chapter
Right up
of
front.
the statutes,
Okay.
and say, if you didn't read it, hey, we ain't telling you. We can't give you legal advice.
Person includes a corporation,
A corporation,
company, partnership, firm, association, or society,
or society,
as well as a natural person.
natural person. So when you define a word, do you put the word in the definition too?
No.
So why the freak they talk
That's
about
like one of the
natural
first
person for the
things that you're
definition of
taught.
person?
I think they're trying to explain that it could be a business or a human.
No. What they're doing is telling every single entity they create is a person. And if you're a government worker, you are a natural type of person.
Okay.
All right. There's a physical person moving around with that office is what it is. Natural person means a natural mask or officer who's wearing a facade.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to prove it, because when they tell you that a person can get arrested, they're going to tell you that any person who has the ability for their property to be taken is not what you think it is, a physical man or woman. Watch this. What does it say?
When the word person is used to designate the party whose property may
They
be
can
the
take your
subject.
property, right? Because you think they can take your property, right? But whose property can they take? Watch this. Watch who it names.
Subject of a criminal or public offenses.
Whoa. Subject of a criminal or what?
Public
Public
offenses.
offenses.
Not private offense?
Public offense.
Only a public offense? Criminal or public offense. The things that are criminal are in the public.
Right.
The things that are in the private are not criminal. And I'm going to prove that because a magistrate can only make a warrant against somebody. And we're going to see who it is, right? Keep going.
The term includes the United States.
Whoa. The term includes the United States is a person?
Okay.
What the freak are we talking about here?
This state.
This state. Arizona is a person?
Or any territory.
Or any territory. You could take a territory's property, United States property, Arizona property, but did it say the people yet?
Like human being?
No.
Oh, it didn't say that. Okay,
State
let's keep going.
or country.
State or country. Okay, you could take a country's property. Okay.
Or any political subdivision.
Or any political subdivision. Why the freak we keep talking about locations and corporate charters and stuff? Why ain't we talking about what's going on here?
What is going on?
Yeah.
Subdivisions of this state that
Subdivisions of this state
lawfully own any property.
may lawfully own any property. How do they get that power? By statute. When you create the statute of an entity, you say it has the right to sue or be sued, the right to own property or not own property. It could be a juror type of society that can get sued, or it cannot be. Oh, so it's by permission of the state.
Got it.
Oh,
Or a public or private corporation. Or partnership.
public or private corporation.
Okay, so now what?
Private corporation is a corporation. And they trick people and say, you got a private business. No, you don't. You got an LLC that was given to you by the freaking state.
They try to trick you.
You got an association. No, you got an association that the state said you could have.
Oh, that's where the private
Yeah, so when
private
you have
company, private LLC.
when you have a 501c3 church, that's a government church that says you get off on your taxes. A private entity don't have taxes. So why you gonna trick me to get taxes to have a private entity when I could just have a private entity and not be bothered with you?
Very interesting.
You see? So all of these persons, this person ain't got nothing to do with us, right? Now, what we're going to do is look up what happens when you're one of the people. So look up 1-201. Now, this is going to be the special one. This is going to be pretty beautiful.
This distinction will blow your mind.
Okay, and we're going between persons and people.
Yes, sir. Now,
So persons, so we've, just to recap, because everybody's like, they're not reading this or listening. Persons, we're talking about states, countries, entities, etc.
yeah, corporations, businesses opened up by the state, associations opened up by the state.
Okay, those were persons.
Yeah.
What,
Got it.
1201?
Yes, sir. Now, 1201, this thing is going to get gangster.
Give me a second. The adoption of common law.
Ooh, they say that don't exist no more.
Adoption of common law.
Hold on, wait, I thought they
Exemptions.
said there's no such thing as common law anymore, and that common law is that old school stuff that don't exist no more. So why the heck is it talking about it in their statute in the
Yeah, really.
beginning?
Only if you don't ask for it.
This was before. This was before 215 definitions. 1201 is before that. One comes before 15, I think. Okay, so what does this say?
This says the common law
The common law.
only so far as it is consistent with and adapted to the natural and physical conditions of this state.
Whoa. As it is adapted to the natural, like nature, like me, and physical things, not businesses, not corporate entities with charters. Oh, okay. So when it deals with the natural and physical things of this state, that's a different type of place, right, or thing. Keep going.
And the necessities of the people
Whoa,
thereof.
whoa. The necessities of the people thereof. What the people need when the people come and say, hey, I'm one of the people. I'm not one of those businesses. I'm not a person. I'm not a person, dude. Don't you treat me in no administrative court.
I'm a people.
I'm one of the people.
Got it.
I'm free. I'm one of the people. I'm free and independent. You ain't supposed to have me here. You got to tell these clowns that you're real.
Sure.
You could walk in, they could look at you and say, he's a person. He has a business and he's the authorized signatory, and therefore he's bound by a pledge for everything the business does. Throw him in jail. Ha ha ha. Hope he don't say he's one of the people.
Yeah,
Right?
that's what it is. I hope they don't bring this up.
Yeah, please don't say this, right?
They're not going to tell you.
Exactly.
So one of the people, right? The necessities thereof. So if the people need something, see, this is why we're going to bust their head today with the election stuff. Because when the people come in and say, it's a necessity of one of the people that you guys audit every freaking thing y'all put in because we
Right.
don't believe in these votes. We ain't even got to give you a reason. Just make sure every vote is a legal vote, like Article 7, Section 7 of the Constitution says. You have to do this for us by right. We're not asking. We demand
Absolutely.
that you do it. And watch what happens when we give this to them. They're going to do it.
Okay.
Now, so the necessity of the people, what?
And not repugnant
And
or
not repugnant to the United
or
States Constitution.
inconsistent with the Constitution of the
the
United States.
because the United States Constitution is the supreme law of the land, but the Constitution of the United States was made off the common law. Articles 1, Section 7, the Bill of Rights, Section 7 of the United States Constitution talks about the common law twice. Now, the common law is what the United States Constitution was, so it would not be repugnant or interfere with that. Keep going.
Or the Constitution or laws of this state.
This state, and the law that the Constitution talks about in the state of Arizona and every other state, is the common law. That's where it came from. It won't mix. Keep going.
Or established customs of the people of this state.
Or the established customs of the people of the state. Guess what that is? The common law. The common law is the customs of the people. Don't come to my house talking stupid, trying to arrest me if you don't have a warrant. That's the common law.
Okay.
Right? Don't interfere with my ability to be in the private. Common law. Don't try to force me to not meet with people I care about. Common law. Right? Now, watch this. So if you come as one of the people and it's not repugnant to the laws of this state, the laws of the Constitution, all this other stuff, right? What happens?
Is adopted and
shall be the decision of what?
The rule of decision in all courts of this state.
Courts of this state. So if you come and say you're one of the people, you force the court to have to give you common law.
So you're saying if you go to an administrative court and you tell them I'm one of the people, I'm not bound by this ridiculous court that I'm in right now, and I'm bound by the common law, that puts you in a whole different jurisdiction to protect you as the people.
Well, we put together affidavits around the country against CPS, which is a legislative tribunal and really not a court.
Interesting.
And we got 74 to 75 kids back across the country when they didn't used to give kids back. And at the top of it says, I, affiant, space for the name, one of the people in this court of record.
Explain what a court of record is.
Court of record is what's guaranteed to every man and woman in Arizona, too. I can show that in the Constitution, Article 6, Section 30. Yeah. Now, every court, the appeals court, superior court, and the Supreme Court in Arizona is guaranteed to be a court of record. Court of record is so deep because it tells the rules of the court and how it has to work. So what happens is, if you read the law books, between Black's Law 4 and Black's Law 6, they changed the definition of court of record. Court of record now says a court that keeps the record and a court that can fine and imprison for contempt. The attorneys usually look at it as a court that keeps a record, but that's not what a court of record is. The real definition of court of record on Black's Law 4 and before says a court of record is one where the judge is independent of the tribunal that comes. So when one person brings the lawsuit, the judge or magistrate is independent of the tribunal. In CPS court, in this court that they try to bring you out to for business, is called a administrative hearing. It's an administrative court where the judge works for the agency. The agency that's bringing you to court, he works for superior reviewing purposes.
I don't see any conflict of interest.
And you know why they can do that? Because they say by the very fact that you accepted the corporation, that you made an agreement that you to be bound by every statute.
Okay. We didn't think there was another way.
Well, the problem is no. It's more than that. Not only did you not think it was another way, but they didn't give you full disclosure. They didn't tell you, hey, guess what? If COVID happens, we're going to rape you.
No.
They didn't tell you that.
Yeah,
Where did they tell that? They didn't give you full notice. See, what they did is they gave you a contract without the terms being on the contract, because on the Corporation Commission paperwork, it says nothing about ARS 26-303 all the way up to 317. It doesn't tell you that. So they don't tell you when you're signing it, right? They just say, you're bound by it. No, you presume that I'm bound by it, but when I come after you with that fire in a court of record and force you, you're going to get your head cracked.
Okay. Let's this is like
deep.
way outside like most of our. We just like to lift. We like to help people. And so you obviously are out there trying to help and do your best. Is there a need for a lawyer in this situation from the business side?
When have a lawyer told you guys about the very law 26317 that they're prosecuting everybody with?
Yeah.
What lawyer told y'all that if you're a private organization that says it in the dang law that they prosecute people with all the time? They go to court over that. How many attorneys told you that was there?
No.
I never heard of it.
How much money did Tom spend on lawyers fighting what they were doing? That's why when I reached out, when I saw them, he was just getting raped right and left.
Yeah.
And I finally got through and reached out, got through to Mario and then him. And because I was like, I told him, I go, I can't let this happen with this guy. This is ridiculous.
I was wondering, I'm like, Josh, you're running for Congress, dude, and you're actually helping parents who are getting their kids stolen. You're helping businesses. I'm like, I realize that's not good for your race. Like, they're going to dog you out over this. I'm like, why are you doing this? I asked him, and this is what made me like Josh. He got this deep voice. He's like, because it's the right thing to do.
Good. That's great.
Yeah.
So that's how we got super close.
So a lot of people have heard of the story of Mountainside Fitness. You know, Tom Hatton was on the news a lot, and a lot of guys were calling me, what do you think about this? And he went down one direction, right? And being, like what most of us would do, we would hire a lawyer. We got to fight the governor. We got to get the doors open. And then you worked with him, is what I'm hearing, right? And now what did you say, Josh?
Well, when we first met with Mario, we told him exactly what we're telling you all today.
Yeah,
we're laying it out. Why the winning argument? This is the winning argument. This is how you win.
It ain't even an argument.
No, yeah, this is how you win. Period. And
the
the attorneys, they want billable hours, like we always say, but they're going about it. They made a weak argument, I felt, and we both felt the same way, that his lawyers are making a weak argument for what they were trying to do.
Just to take him to court, it seemed like, hey, well, you forgot to put one thing in the law that tells us what time you're going to come out.
You're trying to catch a loophole.
Yeah, I'm like, man, screw that. The very dang law they're using against you tell you how to stop it. Mm-hmm. So you want me to shut my LLC down? Here, take it. Now, I'm not using this no more. It's shut down. Now I'm in the private. Now what? What's the argument?
That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great.
I don't want to hear nothing else.
And that's all it is. It's really that simple. You file articles of organization like you would, with your LLC, but you're filing articles of organization for your private, and no one else gets to see them but you.
Yeah,
no one gets to see it.
Only the people in your system get to see it.
Yes.
What laws or rules are we, if we switch to a PMA, are we held to? Are there no rules?
Can I show you something beautiful? So if you want to look, pull up. So let me ask you this. So let's say you got your business that you own, right?
Yeah.
You guys own. And let's say you had somebody who, was gay, who worked at your establishment. And you said, hey, I don't like the fact that you're gay because I don't believe in that. So you're fired. What will happen to you?
Oh, dude.
You'd lose everything, probably.
Lose everything. We get sued. We get,
super anus rippage, right? You can toe up, right? So please look up in Boy Scouts of America, BSA, versus Dale, DALE 2000. And watch this. I'm about to show you some fire. It's going to get good.
This is
versus
crazy.
Dale.
Okay.
Versus Dale. It should tell you
All
the
right,
holdings.
so while he's looking that up.
That's a Wikipedia link.
We're used
right?
to.
Yeah.
We're used to, as business owners, you got to file your taxes, you got to follow these laws. These are all the laws of the land.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Laws of the land.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's like a biblical term. It doesn't really say law of the land. It says in the Bible, because a lot of people have a problem with this, and this is what stops a lot of people from doing what the law clearly says, because they don't know what the law says, but then they see it and they're like, oh, I'm still a little bit nervous. Romans 13:1, it says to listen to your rulers, follow your rulers, be subject to your rulers. Now here's the problem. They tell us that and we just automatically think, yeah, the government is our ruler. Which government official did we hire in America as a ruler? Not Donald Trump, not a governor. They are our public servants. Your indentured servants.
Yeah, the opposite.
Right? Yeah, they're the opposite. You're the ruler. So they need to obey you. That's what the Bible says. God was smart enough to tell the people of Israel, do not get a king, because if you get a king, he's going to send your kids to war, make you do dumb stuff, harm you. Don't do that. You're not going to like it. So then the American people got smart. They're like, man, God told them not to get a king. We were in England. We had a king. This king junk never worked. So we're going to make ourselves the sovereigns. We're going to be the people. We're going to be the highest. And everybody else is going to be our servants. They learned the right way. Mm-hmm. Now they have to listen to us. The people rule. So now all we're doing is reminding people that that's the kind of government
that
we got.
exists. Okay.
Yeah.
Boy Scouts of America versus Dale says in 2000 was a landmark decision of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Decision.
Decided on June 28th of 2000 that held the constitutional right of freedom of association, allowed the Boy Scouts of America to exclude a homosexual person from membership.
That means fire. That exclude means fire him.
In spite of a state law requiring equal treatment of homosexuals.
In spite of what?
A state law.
State law is supposed to be super high law that they could throw you in jail and jack you up and punish you and tar and feather you, right? But then it just said it allowed them to bypass a state law like the state law ain't nothing.
Public accommodation.
Oh, and public accommodation. So you're telling me if you're in a PMA, you don't have to deal with public accommodation because you're not in the public? They don't tell us the difference between those two words.
Wow.
You control what the rules.
Mike.
You control what the rules are within your PMA. You know,
Yes.
and that's what I keep telling people. Like a lot of people made the argument, Tom made the argument, and it's a correct one in the sense of we're going to do what we can to keep our people as protected as possible. You know what I mean? You're going to wash your hands. You know, try not to lick the bench. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, basic rules. You know, that any gym would have. You know, to wipe down stuff. And you set your own rules. You wear a mask if you want to. You know, this is a free country. You know, if you want to wear one, and that's what I do. And we do everything we can to keep people healthy and safe. Right. And that's what most business owners will do in this country because they want business, right?
Right.
And if you're running a crappy business, a poopy business, and that's like Bentley, as my son said that. But if you're running a bad business and you're not taking care of your people within your association, they're going to go somewhere else, right?
Sure.
So it only makes sense that you let the people take care of it, like the Governor Noem did in South Dakota, and let her people take care of it. The people are going to take care of it.
I like.
Oh yeah.
I like
well,
her.
yeah.
I like her.
I thought
want to see more of her.
But we have a governor that did the opposite, and the opposite of what Governor Noem did, and then look what happened. You know, people lost everything. There's people that lost everything.
Shut down.
You know,
Yeah.
and that to me is something that can never be reversed. Like I don't know how anyone could ever look at this guy in a different way. You know what I mean? You look at this guy. You know, I didn't have an issue with him before at all. Like I was like, you know what? He's pro business, and he seems to be doing okay. You know, and then we saw the real him. Yeah. We saw the real him starting in March, the deep state Ducey in March. You know, because that's exactly what he is. You know. He wants to be a part of that club so bad that he's willing to shut people down and ruin people's lives due to it. People committed suicide.
Yes.
Because of this.
Massively.
People are hooked on opiates in different things because they and alcohol. They couldn't deal with this. I was about ready to lose my damn mind. I was so mad. And with the short time that I was shut down before I learned everything, and people getting arrested and thrown in jail for operating a business.
Yes.
And he's complicit in everything that happened.
He watched it all.
And then now we have a guy who's doing all this stuff to everybody else, and he thinks he's going to run for Senate. He thinks he's going to run for president. And after what he just did, and now we have let's fast forward to now, and we have this election thing going on in Arizona. All he has to do is call for an audit or a special session for the Arizona legislature to vote for an audit on Dominion machines and a full audit on every vote cast in Arizona. He has yet to do it. Man. You know, so that's the type of person, because you know what he's doing. He's playing gray. He's being gray. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
President Trump might win, so I got to kind of act like I'm doing something, but I don't want to go too hard, because if he loses, then it's going to be bad for me. It's going to be bad for me politically. You know,
he needs to pick a side.
It's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And all he has to do is just pick the side of the Constitution and do the right thing, which he has yet to do. And that's why I lost all respect for him as a politician. I don't know him personally. He's probably a nice guy. You know what I mean? But
who knows?
As a politician, he's garbage to me. You know, and the same thing with John McCain. You know, I can say the same thing. I'm not questioning his patriotism or how good he is of a person, a family man, whatever. I'm only basing it on his political moves that he's made. He kept Obamacare the deciding vote, which destroyed people's premiums.
Yep.
The guy also was the one that passed the fake dossier on the BuzzFeed and blew out all this stuff, and which turned out to be a fake Russian collusion, nightmare. $40 million, and we all know the story. That was because of him.
Who did they pay that $40 million to, though? That's what I was wondering. Who did they hire to do that? What did they pass?
18 Democrat people, the lawyers, attorneys coming after him, and they still didn't find nothing on him. But my point is that, true colors are being shown. When the people raise up and show the power they have in the Constitution, and just we're not trying to do anything illegal. We're not trying to do anything.
It's already there.
It's right there, and we're trying to take control of it. They don't want us to know this, and that's why we're out as much as we can, getting out, trying to tell people.
Pushing the message. Well, that's a lot to digest, and I would suggest, anybody, like, what would you tell somebody that's listening right now? Oh my gosh, this is the first I've heard of it. Where can they learn more? How do they get in touch with you guys?
Well, the first thing is, don't believe a dang thing we say. Go read on your computer, play the video back, stop it every freaking single time that you hear a law quoted. Go look for it for yourself. Prove all things, hold fast to that which is good. If something is some garbage, throw it out. If somebody's garbage, throw them out. If you see that the laws that we show you are in the Constitution, in the statutes, and is really there, then you know that you're verifying for yourself what the truth is. Now, when you get the truth in your mind, if you decide, the Bible tells you something simple: the truth shall make you free. This is why they didn't want slaves to read. Because when you find out you're supposed to be free, it will make you free. You will either be free or you will be a stubborn, ignorant mamma jamma fighting hard as heck to get free, right? So you are made free when you can see the truth. Most people in America know that something's wrong. They can feel it in their heart. The common law should hit you in the heart because it comes from the Bible. It's just what's right and wrong. And so when you see the law for yourself, you have something you can stand on, and that's when you can be courageous. When you're fearful is when you don't know, but you can feel something's wrong, but you can't stand on what's wrong. You can't see it. You can't show it to anybody.
That's probably where everybody's sitting.
That's
right
where
now.
everybody's at.
Yeah.
Once somebody shows you, your brain changes. You can never go back. A brain expanded will never get smaller, right? So once you get to the point that you see that something is wrong and you can see where it's wrong in the law, it will make you stand up. So the first step is learn the truth for yourself. Check everything. It should take you an hour to check everything we said.
Sure.
If you see it there, take action. Right? We're not asking anybody to do anything. My life and Josh's life is going to be good no matter if people listen to us or use us for help or not. I'm not tripping. But I would like to see people be free. I would like to see people kick butt. I would like to see people keep our country because they're removing businesses. 50% of small businesses shut down and ain't opening back up. We can't afford to have that. You think if we don't have people to make food for us, if we don't have farms giving meat, if we don't have people giving water, if we don't have people making hempcrete and clothes, you got to understand that we're going to go back to the old days, and the stores are going to lock us out because they're listening to the government right now. Even though,
well, if the private sector doesn't create it, guess who is? The government will create it.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to do.
And they're forcing
They're
dependency.
trying to make
Sure.
us beg, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We need specialization of labor. Everybody get a craft. Everybody get something that you can do. Don't be afraid to run what you do. Everybody create private associations and then provide services for each other. So you could have one for exercise. You could have one for homeschooling. You could have one for food. Somebody else can have one for farming to give the food to the association. And we just buy from each other. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody who I know who is a patriot, who's fighting and standing up, I will buy from them only. I'm not going to a regular. Look, you got the stuff that this store had? I'll buy from you.
Yeah.
Screw the store.
Yep.
They want to make people wear masks and don't let people in and get smart with people. Stay where you. First of all, we're going to send affidavits to you and we're going to come after you. But on top of that, we'll take your money and give it to somebody else to let them have a farm so that they can have the sprouts.
Yeah.
Right? We're not playing these freaking games no more. Just like our forefathers' Declaration of Independence, you want to keep us out? You're on our land by permission. We'll sue your pants off, destroy your business, and give it to somebody else. We're not playing with you.
Okay. So they've decided they go research it. What's the next step?
Get with Josh if you want. If
Get
you
with
want
Josh.
somebody to put a PMA together
Yes.
with you, so we have PMAs that you pay a membership fee to the PMA. You get education, understanding, and it creates a PMA.
So the
for you.
PMA is the
The PMA creates PMA.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I highly suggest that people do that because there's as you've learned, there's so much to know and so much to learn that
I'll
even
show y'all a little bit.
I've spent how many hours we spent together talking, but I still will pick up like one little thing. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's kind of
okay.
like it's just like in fitness. You always
Yeah.
pick up one thing. In bodybuilding, there's one little thing you learn.
Sure.
Like talk to Milo Sarsa for 5 minutes, I learned something new. So. And it's the same thing with the law, and everything that he's learned and that I'm learning and picking up along the way. I always pick up something, something new. And that's what the PMA will allow you to do is to continue. Hey, David, what's this? Hey, David, what should I do about that? And it's a continued learning process.
So they join your PMA,
Yeah.
and within your organization, it spits out their PMA. What does that cost, and what does that do? What is that all about?
So right now, I have a PMA price for just a PMA, and then we have continued education so that you can learn everything you need to know real time. Call me 24/7, day or night, 2 o'clock in the morning.
They can bounce ideas off.
So for
Okay, so
everything,
you're in it. You're obviously the founder of it, or
yeah.
Okay.
So for everything is $2,000, and what happens is that you get PMA articles, you get education, you get actual court cases that PMAs have done in history
case
and
law.
won. Yes.
Okay.
So you get to see the information for yourself. You get to literally ask questions. If you have a problem at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody's messing with you, a police officer comes and bother you, you call me right then. I talk to you right then.
Okay.
And so I believe that, the old school way of doing things, and in the world before me, there's people who did PMAs 20 to 30,000 each. But I realized that's going to hurt people. because we're suffering right now.
Sure.
So $2,000 is something that's easy for people to deal with and to have everything they need and to be free and be open. And they can start dealing with other PMAs and partner and do all types of stuff. There's so much you can do that I ain't tell you guys yet.
Yeah, well, we can talk offline,
but what happens is that it allows people to be free where, if you deal with an attorney for 2 to 4 hours, you're paying $2,000.
Sure.
And they're not going to tell you how to do this. And I'm not telling you something that I'm guessing. I'm telling you what we've used, and y'all see businesses open all day.
Okay.
Y'all see it.
So 2,000 gets you be a
You'll
member.
be a PMA by the next day.
PMA, but you be in your PMA.
You'll be in my PMA and you'll have your PMA.
So like my
by the
PMA is the Metroflex Health Enhancement PMA. So when people come in, you have your traditional ABC Financial and you fill out your form. I still do that. Do that. But I also have them sign a separate PMA, the Metroflex Health Enhancement. When I tell people that, it's funny because they get this big smile on their face. They go, "This is why we're open. This is why you can do what you want." And they're like, "Oh, thank God, man."
Oh, they appreciate it.
And so I haven't signed that, and the protections in that, as far as a company, or not a company, as far as being sued and all that stuff. Oh, I got hurt here. Super huge. It's tight. It's tight as can be. It's bulletproof.
Okay.
So it actually has a lot of things that insurance-wise would be very helpful.
Okay.
And then let me tell you this though. So we also give you a notice to government. We actually have a notice that is based off of your constitution. So I do the research to find out what's in your constitution, and then the same arguments I showed you guys in the constitution. That was only 2. I got way more.
Sure.
The same things that are in your constitution that forces people to do what's right, I create a notice and we send it out to government right away.
Okay.
So they automatically get put on notice of what the law is for the first time in their life, usually.
Which is part of the process, I would imagine. That's got to be written in there somewhere.
Some people with PMAs don't do that.
That's got to be one of the steps.
Some people who get PMAs from other people, they don't teach you that. They don't teach you to put, they're like, oh, let's just hide. No, I'm not hiding. I'm putting it in your face. Because I want you to tell me I'm wrong, because you can't, number one. And I want you to realize the role you're in, you're a servant. And I want you to, and I'm going to tell you nicely, but I want you to communicate with the people if you think that something is wrong, which gets rid of good faith. The only way government gets away with stuff is by good faith. Hey, we pulled you over and stole your car because we thought you were a thief because you're this color with an outfit like this and the guy had a tank top and these shoes, and we shot you, but we thought you were somebody else. So we're not really liable. Okay, well, I'm going to give you notice ahead of time, tell you I'm coming down your street, what I'm wearing, what I look like, and if you mess with me, I'm telling you what the fee is going to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you where in the Constitution it says I can do this to you.
And that's what I love. It takes the power back and almost puts you on the offensive, as opposed to just exactly like right now, all gym owners are just sitting here playing defense. Things are just hitting them in the face.
Reacting.
And exactly.
They're put blankets over their windows. And
Hiding.
Screw that. I'm like, I want to come in your face.
This is wild.
I want to come in your face. And here's the thing. We already have been getting remedy with a few of us, 50 something. If 100 more do it, 500 more, 1,000 more, the government across the country are going to be sending emails to each other as bar attorneys. Can we beat these guys? They know too much. They already know we're doing wrong. And we're already doing some stuff with Donald Trump right now. That's going to save the election. Watch, Arizona's going to have to be forced to do an audit because of what me and Josh did.
Good.
And I'm telling you,
we all want the audit.
Yeah, we're forcing
everybody needs to want an audit. It's transparency,
it's
period.
It's in the Constitution that they have to get. Look, the Constitution, Article 7, Section 7, clearly says that the person who has the most legal votes shall be the president. So that means that the people created the highest law in Arizona that says if every vote is not considered to not be fraud, or I'm sorry, if every vote is not excluded from being fraud, that the people have a right to know.
Mm-hmm.
So we can force an audit by the word of the Constitution, and we made an affidavit to do that already. It's game over. As of today, it was released, and now we're going to see heads roll.
When we leave here, we're going to personally hand it.
Yeah.
I'm going to personally hand it. We're going to walk in to the Maricopa Board of Supervisors.
Sweet.
I haven't picked which person I want to hand it to.
Whoever's the top.
I do know
Who's the top?
You going to do it on Facebook? You going to go live?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna record it, and I'm going to hand it to them and say, here you go, sir. I hope
you just got that smoke.
We're demanding an audit of this election.
Yeah.
And it's very simple. We're not asking you. We're telling you we want an audit.
We're the people. We have the highest power.
This will be interesting to see.
Very cool.
Yeah. Well, great, guys.
What's the easiest way to get a hold of you, Josh?
Yeah.
Reach me through social media. It's the easiest way. On Twitter and Instagram, it's Barnett for AZ. On Facebook, it's just Josh Barnett for Congress. And you can also reach out to my email. It's contact@ barnettforaz.com, and that's F-O-R, Barnett, F-O-R-A-Z.com. That's my email. It comes straight to me, my campaign managers. So if I don't see it, they're going to see it, and we'll make sure we get right back to you immediately. Download Signal. We only use the Signal app, so download the Signal app or Signal Messenger. We only use that when we're going through everything, so download that, and we'll be all good.
Cool. I imagine that you're going to have a few people reaching out next week.
Well, yeah, absolutely. If they get through all of this, because it was all.
That's a lot.
Oh no, I
sure.
guarantee you. See, to us, we're hearing it, and for the first time, of course, and we're engaged in the conversation. Somebody sitting back watching, their brain is going to be clicking and encoding the information. And
Yep.
the reason I teach things the way that I teach is because my schooling is in psychology. That's what I learned first. I do public speaking, motivational speaking, and I teach people how to do different things in business and in life. And so when I explain it the way I explained it for a reason, because it's the logical steps your brain goes down to encode a message.
Sure.
So they're going to realize this dude just said something I never heard of. The shock factor in that alone makes people say, oh, like, that's crazy. It's so crazy. I'm going to look. And once they do that, I promise you, their mind is going to change, and they're going to know this dude is telling the freaking truth.
That's great.
You know?
That's awesome. Well, thank you both for being on the show and spreading the word. I'm excited to get this out there. This will be out there next Tuesday. So we're gonna
24th, I think we said.
Yeah, we're gonna clean it up just before Thanksgiving. So when people are out driving to their family dinners, they're gonna be listening to it. So thank you too for joining us, and for everybody else, we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Thanks.